Welcome back. How does Teach for Nigeria work?
Well, it's an educational program that was modeled after teachforamerica.org, where you have privileged young people who've had good education, commit their time once a week or once in 2 weeks, perhaps, to go into a public school. And the key word there is public, because of the deteriorating nature of our educational system, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, to teach a subject, a particular subject that they, are convinced that they're very good at.
And is it, so it's all about volunteers?
It's volunteers, it's voluntary, absolutely voluntary.
How do people register? How do you, so I'm trying to understand the workings, the mechanisms.
We sent out an email. First of all, what I did was when I got back, I sent out an email to a couple of friends of mine, a lot of them. Some of them replied, but the funny part of it was that I sent out like 2,000 emails, 1,000 to most of my friends in the north and 1,000 to most of my friends in the south. And then I got 80% replies from my friends in the south and like 20% reply from my friends in the north. And it was in the north that I needed it more, because I believe the public schools in the north, require that more.
So if we try to quantify what you're doing now, how widespread is it?
Unfortunately, it hasn't been as widespread as I would want it to be. But maybe because I took my eye off the ball and concentrated more in politics. But I think right now I have an opportunity to go back and then concentrate fully on it and make it a properly well-run institution. And maybe that's what I have to do.
And if there's anybody watching that sort of wants to be a part of this, how do they go about contacting you?
Right now they can send me emails, and then we can send that. And then my email address would be snipesahmed@gmail.com. That would be SNIPES. Ahmed, AHMED, one word, @gmail.com.
Now, it's interesting that you said you got a bigger response from your friends in the south than your friends in the north when you first started. Did that balance change at all or shift, or is it still the same?
Well, I got a couple of few friends of mine that kept coming back from the north that I didn't even send emails to. They heard it through third parties and fourth parties. And then, but it's still not balanced yet.
It's still not balanced. Given how badly the North is doing, in the area of education, were you surprised?
No, not really.
Why not?
I don't know. Because most of my friends, I guess, who live in the North had their mind concentrated on something else.
Is this an indication of perhaps why we have issues?
Well, you see, I think part of the problem was the fact that most of them complained to me that they didn't have any public schools around them, anyway, that they could commit one hour, 2 hours to in a week.
So they were so privileged. They lived in like posh areas.
Most of the people I contacted, that could be my fault. Maybe that could be the people I know. Most of the people, they were, living in areas where there were hardly any public schools that they could commit those kind of times.
Okay, so APC is in government. The youth organization you've put together to help make that happen. What now happens to that organization?
Oh, it's going to get stronger. And I think it's going to take up a lot of responsibilities in making sure that it continues to hold the APC in itself to account, make sure the promises it's made to the young people are fulfilled. Continue to inculcate the young people in the process of governance, and continue to be the incubating platform for future leaders for the party and for the country generally.
Now, what about you personally? Because you seem to be very good at putting things together. Is there any other thing that you have under your hat that you're about to pull out?
Oh yeah, there's the Nigerian Youth Economic Forum. It's the first of its kind. It's modeled after the World Economic Forum. This is basically to put the link between the government, and the young people in touch, the synergy, the promises that have been made by the administration in terms of economy of the young people, and the actual reality of young people's economy. And wanted to, move away from the cliche of saying that young people have to participate in governance. As much as important as that is, wanted to understand, wanted to grow the economy of young people, both formal and informal.
There's this suggestion that you're differentiating between sort of the wider economy and the economy of the young people. But one would have thought that if you grew the Nigerian economy and did a good job of doing it, it would naturally grow the economy of young people because they will have jobs, they'll be able to do all sorts of things.
Well, just put it this way, look at it this way. If the country is one whole country, right? And then it has different sectors, right? You have Ministry of Education, Ministry of Science and Technology. Science and technology could be under education, and then this and that. But basically, you grow in parts, not as a wholesome. So the economy can be grown in parts. For young people, try to get women empowerment, trying to get people with disability, you are all growing the economy because it's sums of all of one part alone. So it's not as if you are dissecting it differently. You are growing one whole part, one whole economy in different parts.
So what would the Young People's Economic Summit do in practical terms?
It will basically now link up potential entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, with what you call the alligators. Those are the people who have already made it, who are young people who have
the people with money.
With money, and then who
invest.
have made it, or who with brilliant ideas come together and then be able to access each other and then build this incredible synergy so that everyone could be lifted as a result.
We already have the Nigeria Economic Summit group. Are you likely to plug into that and affiliate into that, right?
That's what we intended to do, yes.
Now we have the lowest literacy rates. We do lower than the national average when it comes to exams. School attendance as well is really, really low. So the general picture of education in the North is rather appalling. What can we do?
Well, I think maybe we'll have to go back to the basics of what was done before during the late premier of the Northern region. I think he incentivized education to a large extent so that they could have a lot of Northerners in school. I don't know if that's still feasible at this point in time.
Are you satisfied with the attention being paid to education by the mostly APC Northern governors?
Right now, yes, from the talk of education they've been talking about, like Kano State Governor and Kaduna State Governor have been harping on education. I don't know how much.
What percentage of a budget, a state's budgets, in your view, should be committed to education?
A sizable amount.
What is sizable? 10%, 20, 30, 40?
I don't know. It depends on other necessities. It depends on the state you're talking about. Because I think education should be a pressing necessity. In some cases, health is their pressing necessity. In some cases, agriculture is their pressing necessity to be able to get a lot of people. Some states are not as bad as other states in terms of education. But I think generally it should be a sizable amount.
Now, part of the promises I remember seeing the APC make include that of free education and I think a feeding program to help boost enrollment figures. Is the APC still intending to fulfill these promises?
Absolutely.
With what?
Yeah, we're working on that too.
Because at the moment, governors are barely able to pay salaries.
That's what I'm saying. So we're working on that. We'll find other ways to do it. The federal government made those promises, not the state governments, by the way. So we made those promises in our campaign speeches at the presidential level.
And you're hopeful you'll be able to fulfill those promises?
Yeah, we're looking at it. We're looking at it.
So if at the end of 4 years, these campaign promises are not fulfilled, we won't be hearing excuses about lack of resources and lack of funding, will we?
Let me tell you what Nigerians are expecting from this government, and I want to be very clear about it. Nigerians are not expecting a miracle.
No, they're expecting you to keep your promises.
expecting us to keep our promises.
Yes.
Nigerians are not expecting magic wands. Nigerians are expecting a very decent and a disciplined and open and a very transparent government. They're expecting a very honest relationship between the governors and the governed. They're expecting that the trust they have invested in APC will be strengthened the more at the end of this tenure. Those are the realistic expectations of Nigerians in this government. And that, I promise you, they will not be disappointed. If for any reason whatsoever, that this administration cannot fulfill any of its promises, we'll be sincere about it. And we'll tell Nigerians why. And they will know why. But what we will never do is to deceive people for political cheap points. We will not ever do that. That I can assure you.
Barrister Ismaeel Ahmed, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
You've been watching Straight Talk with me, Kadaria Ahmed. My guest was APC board member, Barrister Ismaeel Ahmed. We discussed the role of young people in the APC, the crisis facing the party, and how to tackle the decay in our educational system. Join me next week when I'll be in conversation with another special guest. Have a good evening.